All right, welcome back, y'all. It's been a few months. This is now season 2 of the podcast. Do we do seasons, or is this episode 9? We'll go to season 2. Season 2 of the Red and White podcast, y'all. Welcome back, and it is almost football season. Can you insert applause here or something? Everybody like screaming.
The proper Southern response would be yee yee.
Yee yee. All right. Well, I don't know how much you've been paying attention to the off season. We get every little bit of media we can and kind of soak it up. This year has been something a little different. Wolfpack Sports Marketing started putting out player interviews on YouTube after all those summer practices, and I thought that was awesome. It gets everybody excited, gives the players a chance to get in front of the media and talk, and I think that gives them practice for the real world, but it also connects them with the fans and connects the fans with the player personalities, not just the number on the jersey. I thought it was awesome.
Tocho is just...
Oh, yeah. Tocho is the new Tony Creasy. He's the guy they're going to put on camera all the time. But if you watch any interviews, you got to look at Naheem Hines and Reggie Gillespie for freshmen. Those guys are, they're interview ready. It's pretty great. It's awesome. I don't want to say well spoken because that's when everybody's going to yell at me. But
now, bad kitty.
That's right. But it's awesome. It's the guys I think they're doing a good job. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good thing that the sports marketing did this year.
It's turning into a program and not just a team that takes the field.
Yeah, they're really good representatives. I think everybody kind of praised O'Brien for that, for Tom O'Brien for the kind of character kids he brought in. I guess especially after the Chuck Amato years, but I think Doeren is doing the same thing, if not better. I saw a tweet today that NC State was only one of 16 Power 5 schools without an arrest last year or this past year.
Hey,
I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, not just for us, but I think that's awesome. I think that speaks to how Doeren is running his program. The guys are working hard. They're not, dicking around. I'm a big fan. I think that's awesome. I think it's a great. I think it's something that Doeren needs to point out more often to people.
You know what school had 4 arrests?
I can take a guess.
I mean, that's none of my business, but
what was? I think you're speaking of North Carolina.
Yeah.
It might be the first preseason ranking that I ever agree with. I think they were ranked number 9.
Yeah, number 9. Yeah. How about West Virginia with 8?
That doesn't necessarily surprise me too much.
I mean, what else is there to do in West Virginia?
Yeah, I would imagine most of those are probably drinking and stuff like that. I don't follow West Virginia football that closely, so I couldn't tell you.
It's funny. Looking at it, it was a tweet that Mike Rosenberg had put out. I'm not surprised that there are a lot of SEC teams on the list of arrests, the top 20 arrests, whatever you want to call it. But Florida, Bama, Kentucky, I guess, LSU. I mean, it's an SEC heavy list, just like the rankings, right?
Yep. And I would still join the SEC if they invited us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I want to get bumper stickers made and all that.
I saw somewhere, I think somebody had tweeted out a screenshot of one of the Pack Pride message boards, and one of the ECU fans was talking about how ECU should go into the SEC and then how they would dominate the state of North Carolina and this, that, and the other, sleeping giant status. I thought was pretty comical.
Well, that's their Carolina basketball part transferring to football.
Yes, that's right.
So
yeah,
they have to get the sleeping giant in there somewhere. So.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if they're not good enough for the ACC, get the hell out of here. You're not going to the SEC.
Seriously.
We'd be lucky to get into the SEC, let alone them. But
yeah,
whatever.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we should have an ECU hate episode though, because just like season 2, episode 2.A. That's just ECU hate. But
hey, I'm down. I can think of other things to say. I got some good ECU stories.
Do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have a couple. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody has got some good ECU stories, especially if you went to school around here at some point.
I'll tell you, this is completely off track, but you all will enjoy it. I went to ECU for Halloween my senior year of high school, and I was dating a girl that was already at state, and we got into a fight when we were down in the middle of just the crowd of people, and I got lost. They took off and left, and so I'm dressed up as a pimp, and I have a cane with a goblet on the end of it. And I lost my cane, couldn't find it, but I ran into this group of girls, and I told them I was lost, and they drove me around to multiple apartment complexes until I found the one we were going to. So
That's awesome.
that's my ECU wall of shame. So
See, everybody's got an ECU story. We should ask our Twitter fans for their best ECU story. That could be entertaining. Yeah.
You know what you won't hear a good ECU story about?
What's that?
Any kind of sporting event at all. They don't have them. Carolina won the basketball championship a couple years ago. That's all they got.
Yeah.
So. Sorry,
awesome.
I went off on a tangent.
No.
Anyway.
That's awesome. So coming out of summer camp and spring camp, we have, there's some questions for the team. Biggest one is probably offensive line, and who's going to replace Chandler and Rob Crisp at the tackles. I think it's we have a lot of young guys: Will Richardson, McGirt, Workman. Tyler Jones, who was the leader out of the spring, and then all of a sudden, summer kind of something didn't click right in the summertime because his name hasn't brought up a whole lot. But I thought it was interesting that Doeren said after the last scrimmage that they were, they'll probably play the first 4 games and just shuffle guys around until they find a lineup that works. I thought that was pretty interesting. And now there's a lot of talk about moving Joe Tooney over to the left tackle from the left guard, which I'm not sure what that says about the tackles or the young guys, because they love Tooney at guard just because his athleticism. He can move, he can pull and get on the outside and block for the running backs. So it kind of concerns me. I think we'll get an early look at that against Eastern Kentucky because they have the Ohio State transfer, NC State legacy, 5-star guy, defensive end Noah Spence. He's kicked off Ohio State. Now he's at Eastern Kentucky, so I think he alone should give us some good exposure there and see who's gonna show up. And that's the second game of the year, so that should be interesting.
That's a sneaky, scary game, but we'll get into that later. But that's we're gonna find out what we're made of then.
Yeah, I think so. My biggest question right now is the offensive line. I'm curious to see who's gonna emerge.
Well, we have a set center. We're good there.
We actually have 2 centers. We have Schooley's going to be center, and Tony Adams is the right guard, and he's the backup center. So
yeah,
we're set in that part. Those guys are good.
Unless something goes wrong, you will see Schooley all the time.
Yeah.
For the rest of it, though, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. So
it's from what it sounds like is Tooney on the outside, on the left tackle, Alex Barr at left guard, which I thought was weird. And then maybe Will Richardson at right tackle. They've been saying a lot of good things about Richardson during the offseason or during the last few weeks especially. He was a highly recruited guy. He picked us over Florida State and a couple other places. So, he should have the talent. So.
Doeren seems to like Bradbury a bit, though, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. So that was the other story. They moved Bradbury from tight end to defensive tackle, and now he's a guard. So he's an offensive lineman, and they're loving him at left guard. So maybe he's the guy that steps in there, and they keep Alex Barr at right tackle. Should be interesting to see.
How often does a tight end transition to line?
That's probably more often than you would think.
Yeah.
Who was it? Locklear that we had? Not Locklear. Sweezy. Sweezy was a defensive tackle, and he switched over to offensive line in the NFL. So, if you have the size and mentality, and they say Bradbury is, he's a bull, so maybe that's what they're looking for at the guard position.
Right.
And if you have the, athleticism to play tight end, then you can play guard because you want to pull, and those guards have to move a lot back there. So it might be a perfect fit for him if he's put on the weight and he can, pick up the skills. Man, that'd be a real sneaky good addition there.
Yeah, if he goes from explosive tight end with the weight gain, that kind of thing, gets the fundamentals down. If he can take that, because you can be a slow tight end, but most of them have a little bit of speed. If he can turn that into the line, that's something, man. Like that could be solid.
I see if you follow any of the recruiting, Doeren and company have been going after a lot of tight ends, so I'm wondering if that's kind of the body style they like. Some of those guys growing to be defensive tackles, but some of them they can move to offensive line because they can move and they have they're athletic. I think that's something to pay attention to in the future. See all those tight ends and how many of them get converted, how many actually stay at tight end. I feel like we have a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's something else. If you do follow recruiting, if you look at the position they're listed at in high school, that means nothing when they get to college. Like, they could play that spot, but the coach is going to look and see where that body fits in on the field. It's a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I guess the second biggest storyline, or maybe most important to some people because the offense is who the hell's going to catch the ball?
Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, I mean that's you're sneaking ahead of my stories here.
One Hines to the next.
That's right.
Bo to Nyheim.
Yeah, I mean Valdez-Scantling had problems catching the ball as it is, but everybody knows Bo Hines left to be president or whatever he's going to try to do. Now we got a bunch of guys other than Braylon Cherry who have barely caught the ball. So, I think the opportunity is there. You hear good things about Hines, and if you just if you followed him in high school because he's from Garner, you realize his athleticism is just through the roof, and he's going to get on the field. He's just that kind of kid. He works hard, and he's smart, and he's going to be hard to keep off the field. I think you'll see him early and often.
Does it worry you at all that he was a runner in high school?
No, not at all.
Now no? You think he's got it?
I think it's better for him because, one, he knows how to play running back positions, but now he's not going to get hit as much. As if we're going to play in running back, he's going to get killed because he's small. At least now you get him in space and you get him running some jets. If you compare him versus Brian Underwood in the jet sweeps, I think Nyheim is a better athlete, and he's a little bit more elusive. He's a collegiate level sprinter too, so he's got it all. He could be one of the, he could be a long-term gem for Doeren. And I always loved him in high school. I thought he was awesome. He did everything. You could just tell he was kind of a special kid. So,
how were his hands in high school catching?
He didn't have to catch. He threw it and he ran it. He was the quarterback / running back.
That's what worries me. Like, is that going to be an issue, or is it going to be like a learning curve? Or does he get it completely down in camp?
I think they all get hit once and they kind of learn. I have maybe a false bit of confidence for no reason in him, but I think he'll be fine. I think he'll do really well, actually.
No, there's no such thing as false confidence.
For a State fan, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I was texting a buddy before we started, telling him that we were getting ready to record it, and this is the complete state mentality. My exact text was, "I'm really pissed off that I have nothing to be pissed off about when we record this." There's so much optimism, and I know it'll be ripped away from me, but I'm like you. I think he's going to light that slot up.
Yeah.
I loved Bo Hines in that position, and I wish we still had him, but I don't think there's going to be that much of a drop-off this year, and after this year especially, I think he's just going to blow up, like you said.
I think the other guy to watch is Maurice Trowell, a kid from Durham. He redshirted last year. He was kind of hurt on and off. He's just a natural wide receiver, and I think he's going to kind of stand out a little bit among the wide receivers. Hell, we could not even throw the ball with the running backs we have, but I think some of those guys are going to stand out, and now they have the opportunity to play, which is weird. Kind of brings me to another point. It's weird that we're having a hard time recruiting wide receivers because there is playing time to be had. I know teams are probably telling them, "Oh, look at all the running backs they have. They're going to run it every time." But we don't have any big wide receivers. If you're, a good wide receiver, or a natural wide receiver, you can come in and play right away. There's nobody holding you back.
And then the counterpoint to that, if we are being recruited against that way, look at the stats from last year, the split of run versus pass.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had that all-star, that fantastic receiver.
Right.
We talk about Braylon Cherry, which I think is going to be underestimated. I think he's going to be really good this year.
I don't know if he's got the top end speed. That's always been my concern with him. He's serviceable. Jericho Kocher didn't have great speed either, but he was also, good route runner. Man. Yeah, and he could catch. Yeah. So, there's that there. I've never got that feeling from Braylon, and there's no reason why. He's done everything everybody's asked him to, but he just hadn't stood out, I guess.
But you can't just take what you've seen for value. I mean,
right.
Did you think Valdez-Scantling was going to be good after his freshman year?
Well, that's true. I did.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be fantastic,
yeah.
And then he just shit the bed last season.
Yeah, he couldn't catch anything.
But yeah, I think the Cherry's going to be solid. I'm going out. Y'all can call me out at the end of the season, but.
So who do you think's going to be our leading receiver this year?
That's tough, man. I'll really say. I want to go with the freshman and say Hines. that slot is so easy. They can run deep routes. They can run shallows. You can dump it off to him. And if he's got the speed and he's the best athlete at the position, then it seems natural that he could take over. But he's a freshman. So other than him and Cherry, I really don't know anything about the rest of them. That's the problem. We don't have any receivers.
Yeah, I think the one everybody's been talking about is JaMychal Ramos. Came in freshman year. He had a bunch of touchdowns, had 300-some yards. And then last year he had one catch for 7 yards. So, what the hell was that about? But they're saying he's had a great summer camp. It could have been, wide receivers coach. We got a new wide receivers coach, so maybe he connected with him a little bit. He's a big kid, and he can catch. So, I got to feel like he's going to stand out a little bit. He's got to have a better year than last year, obviously. One catch and 7 yards, I'm pretty sure you could do that out there.
Yeah. I mean, if Coach had put me in, we would have won state, but that's something else. But
yeah, I mean,
I want to change my answer to that. Who's going to be our best receiver?
Yeah,
whichever one of them decides that they want to be.
Yeah,
it's open, man. Whoever works the hardest, sticks to fundamentals, runs their routes, catches the ball, no drops. It's open. You can make your name known here, man.
I think you're right. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities. I think if Jacoby has, and by all accounts they said he has worked really hard on throwing the deep ball more accurately, which last year, I mean, it was terrible. He was really bad downfield, to be honest. I'm sure if you look at his completion rate, it was under 40%, over 30 yards or something like that. He just did not connect with them for whatever reason. But they said he's been working hard on it, and I'm sure the coaches pointed it out. And, Doeren even mentioned it in the last scrimmage comment or press conference, how he said Jacoby's really improved on the deep ball. It was something he really worked on. But if last year, if we hit any of those deep balls, it stretches the defense. It changes things, and our offense is even better. But we didn't hit any of them. It killed a lot of drives. It was a real issue, but hopefully they got that fixed this year.
The games we lose this year will not be because of Jacoby.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that. I think
he's going to do his part, and the thing that will help him, the thing that will help the receivers, is the running game is just absurd.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to load the box. Those receivers are going to have time and space to catch the ball. And I have no doubt that that was Jacoby's one thing last year was a deep ball. He seems like the type of kid, he's going to look at it and attack it, and he's going to be great this year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. They're going to have to stop the run between Shad and Days alone. Those guys are really good backs. They should command a lot of attention, and that's going to open it up for any of the wide receivers. And I think that could be a big difference there.
Story for the listeners here. Me and Evan were texting one day, and we were talking about the running game, and came up, about 1,000-yard rusher, and Evan says how he wants 2 this year. And that's when I knew that Evan was a State fan, because we haven't had 1,000-yard rusher in years. But he's like, nah, screw it. I expect 2. And I'm like, that's the State attitude. Just out of nowhere, expect greatness. And that's there you go. That's all the justification you need for Evan. He's State through and through.
I mean, I did. I want a 1,000-yard back, but I want two. I want them both to do it, and I think they can, which is really weird. The optimism really messes with my head, but I really think they have the potential to do it. The only downside will be Gillespie and Nichols and even Johnny Frazier if they play him. That's a lot of guys to split the carries with. So, I don't think it's realistic. I think Shad's going to get it easy.
Shad's going to get it. Yeah. He's there.
And I think Days can get it. I think he'll get more screen passes and he'll get more passes out of the backfield. But I think he could be 1,000-yard back if he was the feature back.
See, the thing is, Days could, but he's not going to get the carries for the offensive philosophy of keeping it as close to 50-50 pass run as you can. Shad's the senior. Shad's the power runner. Shad's going to play on Sundays.
I think Shad's playing on Sundays. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's going to take those carries. The thing about the 1,000-yard rusher is, and you look at the talent, yes, Shad can do it, and Days could do it, but Gillespie could do it too.
Yeah, it's harder for a freshman, but I agree, he definitely could.
No, I'm saying talent-wise, the backfield is so deep, you can't expect crazy stats.
Yes.
Out of each back.
So here's what I would like to see. I'd like to see Shad get 1,000. I see Days get 500 rushing and probably 500 receiving because I think he can. And then Gillespie.
Did he do that last year?
I think he did. It might have been. I don't remember if it was 500, 500, and 500 or 300, 300, 300 with kick returns and stuff. But he was the leading all-purpose rusher or all-purpose back in the country for something weird like that.
Yeah, I saw there was some crazy stat that it was like him and two other guys, and I can't remember the guys, but they're premier guys.
Yeah, and so that brings me to my question. I think Shad gets 1,000. I think I see Days get 500. Gillespie's going to get some carries, but if I would love to see Johnny Frazier redshirt, and I know that sounds weird because he's probably the highest rated back that we brought in, but Gillespie was here with the spring, and we don't unless there's a barrage of injuries, knock on wood, we don't need it. Yeah, just
throw it in late, but it was there. Yeah,
we don't need him. I'd much rather keep him for next year. Let him get in college shape, and then we'll have Gillespie, Days, and Frazier, and then you have Gillespie and Frazier. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for the future there. I think it would be a great move if they could redshirt him.
No, I'm gonna be so pissed off if he walks on the field.
Yeah,
like he does not need to. I was looking at I saw something Doeren talking about his physical stature since he got there and how he's bulked up.
Yeah.
And then he was talking about, he's like, next year he's going to look like Tarzan.
I believe it. I mean, he's that kind of kid. Yeah.
Like, don't put him on the field. He doesn't. It's like you said. Like, when you look at it, he's the most talented guy back there, but we don't need him this year.
Yeah.
We'll benefit from having him that extra year later on. He'll benefit from having that extra year learning the offense, not having to rush in. Yeah. If we set him up for that, and then, like you said, that backfield next year would just be sick. I mean, it's going to be there anyway, but him with 4 years of eligibility left too.
I love it.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, for if they maybe hadn't seen Frazier, he reminds me of a young Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy went to Alabama, now he plays at Green Bay. Mm-hmm. He's got thighs like a truck. He's just built like a bowling ball. It's just going to be a load to bring down. I think that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of comparison I would put for Frazier. That's why I'd love to see him develop over the years.
He's like a smaller Jalen Samuels, but with speed.
I guess I can deal with that. Yeah.
You can't bring him down. It's going to take more than one person to bring him down. It's going to take more than one hit. And if he gets that extra year, man, we don't. It sounds like I said. It sounds weird, but we really don't need him this year.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We've been talking about Shad and Days and Hines and Gillespie. We got Jalen Samuels, who all the dude does is make big plays. It's unbelievable. I think you'll see, they've all said that they held him back a little bit. They only gave him a portion of the playbook last year, and this year I think you'll be all over the place. And he's between him and Greenwich at the tight end / H-back spots. I mean, that's a lot of athleticism there for those guys, for guys to cover. The linebacker trying to cover Jalen Samuels, he ain't got no chance.
He's gonna get plowed, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's gonna be
going back to an earlier point. Is that a reason you think that they maybe were completely good with moving Bradbury to O-line because they knew Samuels was there at tight end?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
they've been recruiting tight end well too. They already got they've got 2 for next year, and then they already got 1 for 2017. So they're not worried so much about tight ends. We have Greenwich, Benson Brown, and Cole Cook, and Jalen Samuels. It's a pretty good tight end group.
Why can't we get wide receivers, Evan?
I know. I just want one. I want DeAndre Overton or Cornell Powell. Those are the 2 big names on our board right now that they're going after. We can get one of them. You don't need to go to Clemson. Every wide receiver goes to Clemson.
Every year, my hope is if Georgia Tech can get Calvin Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
We can get anybody. The offense is there. The run game's there. And if people try and use a run game as a deterrent, then they really don't know what they're talking about. It's perfect.
Well, even
if a kid's out there listening to this, come to State, man. You're set. You're set.
If there's a kid out there who's a good wide receiver listening to this, he's probably already going to State.
Yeah, that's a good chance, but our fame may have spread more than we thought.
Of course, we're huge.
Yeah.
Even going back to Georgia Tech for a second, they had Stephen Hill after Calvin Johnson. Stephen Hill is third round NFL pick or second round NFL pick for the Jets.
They get receivers to go to an offense that does not use wide receivers.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Paul Johnson is just a genius. There's no excuse. There's no reason for us not. If I had to pick the only thing I don't like about Doeren, and it's not that I don't like it, it's I wish it was better, is we've recruited every position but wide receiver.
And I can't figure out why. I think everybody's feeling the same way. We get the quarterbacks, we got the running backs, it's the most balanced offense in the country. Why can't you get one of the wide receivers? There's 2 very good local kids. They all want to go to Clemson.
That Clemson shine's about to diminish a little, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Chad Morris was that offense, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
I know? I lived in South Carolina for 3 years, but I don't know anything about Clemson football.
So what do you think is the strongest point of this team?
Yeah, I mean, we've just more of the same, man. That running game is when you look at a team and one of your first concerns is the offensive line. Is it strong? Is it going to be able to block for the run? Is it going to be able to block for the pass? Is it going to open lanes? When you look at a team and that's one of your concerns, but you're still good with the backfield, I mean, the strength is obviously the running back position, man. It's not even close.
Yeah, I think you're right. People have said the secondary is obviously a strength. Burris and Tocho, and then the depth behind them. But I kind of agree with you. I think the running backs are going to make this team tick. I think that is the strongest part of the team. You can always hand the ball to Shad and, let Shad carry you. He's done it before.
Do you think we'll average 4 yards a rush?
Yes.
You think?
I think so.
Overall, every rush?
Yes.
If you average 4 yards per carry, you're good. I think your offense is good.
I think we will. I mean, assuming our offensive line is not terrible, which I don't think it will be. I think we will. I think we'll. I'm confident in that
if
one.
It's awful, we get 3.5, man. We still get 3.5 if it's bad.
Yeah.
The backs are that good. I'm telling y'all.
Yeah.
We're telling you, they're that good.
Yep. I agree. I think
so.
That'd be an interesting stat to watch. We'll put a little stat watch out there.
The yards per carry?
Yeah, yards per carry. That's a good one.
I will go out and say that any game that we average 4 yards a carry, we're going to win.
Okay. That's good to know. I'll write that down. We'll see.
Write that down. Let's look back on it. But I'm telling you, 4 yards a carry, we're going to win. I think the defense is good enough. If you look at the second half of last year's defense when they opened it up and attacked, that's 4 yards a carry, we're going to win. And I guarantee you any coach will tell you the same thing.
All right.
Unless your defense is like Carolina's last year. But
Oh, atrocious.
oh, hey-oh.
I love it.
What was that, 70 points? Was it? Who was that 70 points against?
I think that was ECU. I think ECU played.
Oh, well, I guess they do have a good sports story. Yeah,
That's
good
right.
for them.
That's funny. What do you think the weakest point of this team is?
Special teams. I want to take a weak way out of here.
Yeah, that is the weak way out.
I mean, well, seriously though, it matters. You have a place kicker and a punter who haven't played, man.
Yeah, and his long snapper. All three of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's, people don't think about special teams. Oh, well, he's just a kicker. No, that shit matters. Like, that's very important.
Somebody should go back and pull up all the old Tom O'Brien interviews when he was talking about Sadie Thompson and Ballman coming in, how they're all freshmen and they were going to screw up, and he would always say something about it that first year. He was always talking about, oh, they're freshmen, they're going to eventually screw up, and I think what he was saying was right, because it's a high pressure spot and you got to be your execution's got to be on point. But I thought it was funny. I think it's very comparable.
So you're basically calling me a more obscene Tom O'Brien is what you're doing.
Yeah. If Tom O'Brien was drinking 13th Colony whiskey or Southern bourbon, sorry.
Yeah, y'all don't know, but I have a bottle of whiskey and a shot glass sitting here for the podcast. So I've taken 3 since we started, but that's why you're getting good entertainment. So
that's
but
quality.
Honestly though, that's such a vital standard. It's considered a fundamental part of the game, but you couldn't pay me to be a kicker, man.
No. I don't know. You probably could pay me a little bit of money to be a kicker.
Well, I mean, you could pay me a couple bucks and I'd do it, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any more stressful situation than a game-winning field goal.
Oh, man.
3 seconds left, fourth quarter. You're playing your rival.
Yeah.
You're down 2, and you're kicking a 32-yard field goal, which should be standard. But what if you miss? What if you make it? Then you're the lucky guy on campus that night. But if you miss it, like that's and I didn't even mean to take the cheap way out. Like that is my worry going into the season.
I can see that. It's not too bad. They're all freshmen. I'll give you a pass there.
Thank you.
If you had to go out to the field right now and kick a field goal, what's the farthest field goal you could kick and make?
Probably like -2 yards. No, maybe 5. It would have to be on the goal line.
Really?
And then it's hit or miss. Then it's 50. Yeah, no, I've never kicked the ball in my life, man. I've never kicked a ball.
Wow.
I tried to punt one time and I fell.
We could do a video podcast of that. That would be awesome.
We should.
I'll hold it for you and see how far you can kick it.
I tell you what, we get 500 followers and we will Periscope that. We will Periscope me punting until I fall, because it'll happen soon, so I don't have to worry about doing it a long time. But
maybe when Dave Doeren lets us do our podcast from the Murphy Center, we can go out and kick field goals.
Hey, you want to see it, Coach.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. You can you have the option of seeing me do that or shoot a free throw, which are both equally bad. So
no, I'm going field goal, definitely. I've seen you shoot free throws.
It's awful.
I kicked a 45-yarder one time. Like my buddy
You're lying.
No, my buddy was holding for me. I cleared it by good 5-6 yards. Of course,
that's bullshit. I call it. I want to have to see that in person.
I can do it. I promise. Verification.
You can do it again?
I can do it again. Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
If I give you 3 shots, you'll hit it one time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're doing that. I'll have video, guys. I'm telling you, it's coming.
I'm excited. Now we just got to get into Carter Finley and let him kick some field goals.
Now, here's the thing. If you're an 18-year-old kid, you can kick a 45-yard field goal. But if you're in a game situation and there's people rushing at you, can you hit it?
Oh, that's a completely different story. No, probably not.
Exactly, and that's why I'm worried about special teams.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. I completely back off the cheat point. That is the problem with this team.
Yeah.
And it could be no problem at all. But
the one thing I do like is Kyle Bambard, who's our kicker, was his quarterback in high school, and he might have been Mr. Football from Michigan, or the state of Michigan, or pretty close, runner-up or something like that.
Oh, they can't play football up north. That doesn't matter. Football's a southeastern sport.
The point is, he's had pressure on him before, and he's been able to perform, obviously, or he wouldn't have been in that high regard. And for a kicker, I think that's pretty impressive. You don't normally see that, so I have a little bit more faith that he can keep his cool under pressure. Because if you can play quarterback and you can do it at a high level, you can probably kick with the pressure on you. So
now, see, you're making it sound bad. It's not that I doubt the guys. I don't.
Oh, why you hate him so much?
It's not that at all. Oh, God, I know I'm an asshole, but it's not that I doubt them. He redshirted, didn't he?
Gray shirted, so it's there's a
gray shirt.
Yeah, something like that. Basically, he was here, but he didn't do anything. Yeah.
So, I'm sure he'll be fine, but you still have to have that doubt. Not even. I hope he doesn't have that doubt, but as a fan, you don't get pissed off if you see a missed kick. It happens. It happened to Sadie. It's gonna happen. Could it come back to bite us in the ass? It could, yeah. But you can't be mad at the kid for it. It's just part of the game.
Yeah. I agree. So when we go out there, we're tailgating, having a few drinks. When we get out to the game, what are you going to be looking for this first game against Troy?
An ass kicking.
What specifically are you going to be looking for? Let me adjust my question.
Were you talking game plan or result?
No, not so much result, more on the field play.
I was never happier last season than when our defense decided to attack. When he opened it up, and he basically he said go for it,
Right.
And that's when our defense became a completely different defensive unit. They attacked. They were after the QB. He didn't have time to think. Look at the UNC game.
Yeah.
The guys we have, the schemes we run, they can't be cautious. They have to go. They attack, we will destroy Troy. That's a rhyme. But
put that on a t-shirt.
You're right? They should. Destroy Troy, sponsored by the Red and White Podcast. But no, Troy's bad. So when that game starts, we should expect a good victory. A good win. The score should reflect what we're trying to be and what they are. No offense, Troy fans, but attacking defense, run the ball. I love the 50-50 split, but I think that's against teams that justify throwing the ball.
Right.
If Jacoby threw less than 15 times that game, I'd be happy. It shouldn't be needed. We should be able to run it down their throats.
Yeah, I think the same thing. You bring up a good point about the defense, and that was kind of something I've been thinking about is, Huxtable's plan has always been, we'll sit back in a base defense and we'll beat them with fundamentals and that kind of thing. And obviously we saw last year, first half of the season, that just doesn't work. And then the speculation when we started blitzing the second half of the season was Doeren was calling the plays. And, they assured us that Huxtable was still in charge of defense, and, Doeren and Nielsen and Huxtable decided to be more aggressive. My question is, do they go back to the route, the plan of trying to beat you with talent and base fundamentals, or are they going to stay aggressive?
Base fundamentals, if you look at that, it doesn't match Doeren's coaching style.
Right.
He's a go to work, do your job kind of guy. And that sounds bad, but that sounds like a fundamental thing. But it was Meet the Pack Day. The poster that the team poster. It was like, this is a blue collar school. Y'all have heard the quote,
right?
But you have to work hard, and there's no way they go back to just that sitting and well, if we cover this guy, we're good. No, that shit didn't work. Obviously,
yeah.
They have to And I think that's. Did you say that Doeren was calling the plays the second part?
Well, that's what the speculation was, because it was a complete change in philosophy, and everybody said, "Oh, Nielsen was calling the plays," and I thought it too. I was like, "There's no way Huxtable's changed his plan that much all of a sudden in the middle of the year." And so everybody was saying, and that was when Huxtable went up to the box. He wasn't on the sidelines.
But see, I look at it as there's no reason to doubt that Huxtable wasn't calling it. I mean,
it was just a complete different scheme shift. That's why.
Yeah, but if he's paid to do a job and he realizes, well, this isn't working, why not completely change, just change your philosophy? Like, I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of a good coach, or, the sign of a smart coach. I'm just going to say I didn't expect it. I don't think anybody really did.
No, absolutely not. It came out of nowhere, but if he were or was the one that realized what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that was not working, and he attacked and changed. There's no way they go back to that. He's got to stay on the attacking thing because it worked.
I think that they're trying to run base defenses and get pressure just by sheer talent, and I'm hoping they don't go back to that. They might do it early on against Troy and Eastern Kentucky, but I'd much rather see the more aggressive, because that's what we are. We're not. I mean, we have talent. We're getting better, but I don't think we're at the position like in Alabama that can sit back and then not blitz and rely on our guys to run base defense and cover them. I think we got to use some schemes to cover some of our flaws. We still have flaws.
Yeah, I would expect honestly a hybrid leaning to the attack side.
Yeah,
the guys have another year in the system. They're getting better.
Yeah,
they're growing up. Kind of thing. Like, they're going to be better in the base scheme, but that attacking just mentality was perfect. I mean, it worked for the personnel we had. If we take that to the next year, it should work better theoretically. So,
yeah,
I can't see them changing.
I just go back and forth on it. I'm really confident in the talent we have on our defensive side of the ball. They got Kentavious Street now at defensive tackle. Chubb and Mike Rose playing defensive ends. BJ Hill, he had a phenomenal freshman year. And, I mean, between Kentavious and Hill in the middle, those guys they're bulls, man. They're going to be hard to block. So that's that's going to either be great for our defense, or, I don't want Huxtable to say, well, we'll just count on these guys to, chew up the defense and then sit back. So, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. I have pretty good confidence in our defense, so I'm kind of excited to see that. And yes, Street's a horse. He's just huge.
This season is going to be the closest to Chuck Amato defense we've seen, I think.
That's a bold statement.
It is. But look at what we had after he left.
Yeah.
It's not really that bold. It's not.
Yeah, Amato's defense styles, he was... those guys will blitz all the time. What's his name? God, we had this conversation. I forgot. I can't remember. Our defensive coordinator on Chuck Amato for 1 year, and all he did was blitz. Reggie Herring. All he did was blitz every play, and we had the number 1 defense in the country. We had the talent, obviously, but we were so aggressive. It was amazing.
But look at what did we do the second half of last year, man?
Yeah, I get it.
Like, it's there. If he keeps that up for a season, this is the defense that you'll remember for a while. Like, you'll remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, and if this becomes the standard state defense, the attacking, the blitzing, the in-your-face defense, what does that do for recruiting?
Oh, it's already been great for. I mean, you got Street, who's arguably the best defensive player in the state when he came out, and then you got Roseboro, who's arguably the best defensive player in the state when he came out of high school, and now Dexter Lawrence is sitting up in Wake Forest, and by all accounts, he loves NC State. So if you could go 3 years in a row getting the best defensive player in the state, and Lawrence in his case is the number 1 player in the country, I mean, that just speaks a volume for Doeren, his defensive recruiting. I mean,
how long has it been since you've seen, let's say 2 years, let's say Street and Roseboro in 2 years? How long has it been since you've seen 2 defensive players come in like that? And then if and I'm confident in the Lawrence deal, if you put Street, Roseboro, Lawrence in 3 years.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen that recruiting wise for NC State?
It would be back to Mario and Manny. You had Willie Young on the sidelines, Mario Manny, McCargo, and DeMario Presley. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Those guys were huge. They weren't as Mario was. I don't think Manny Lawson was as heralded as he turned out to be. But it's been other than those guys, I can't ever remember a time in my 30 years as a State fan. I can't ever remember a time with that kind of talent.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I look at Doeren and I see that those three, but I look at him as an offensive coach.
Yeah.
So, what was that? Jordan Lynch that he had at Northern Illinois, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he takes a kid at a small school and turns him into that. I look at him as an offensive coach, but his staff is doing this kind of thing on defense.
Yeah, and Doeren he's got a defensive background, but you kind of think of him as...
No. Yeah, I mean, he's got the background, but when you look at it, like, when his offenses have always... I mean, that Northern Illinois offense, that's why they played in the Orange Bowl. It was the Orange Bowl, right?
Right. It was their offense, absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he might have a defensive mindset, but okay, let's say he's a defensive coach, but he still has an offense that runs like it does.
Yeah.
We've got a problem in 2-3 years when the SEC comes calling. But
for me, the biggest weakness, or at least I saw last year, and I know there's a couple weaknesses, but on defense, and this is going to sound weird because he's a senior, but it was Justin Burris. I thought he was suspect in coverage a little bit last year. Maybe not as aggressive, and I don't know if that's trusting the other guys around him or the pressure up front or lack of pressure up front. But I'd keep an eye on him. The guys behind him, Mike Stevens, Troy Vincent, all those guys are putting pressure on it, and if he doesn't perform, you could see one of those guys jumping in there.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing when I was one that I was not on board with firing Tom O'Brien. Were you, Evan?
At that point, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't remember. I backed O'Brien for a long time, but I remember that Virginia game, and there was like 10 people in the stands, and we laid an egg. I was so frustrated.
I took my mom to the Virginia game. My mom was sitting at that Virginia game, and it was just... Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry I brought you to this game. But I was a TOB backer.
Yeah.
But going on what you just said, it's weird now having competition at positions.
Oh, absolutely. Dave from Carter Finley, the guy, his Twitter handle is at DCFC5 or something like that. He always gave me a hard time because I supported Tom O'Brien, and he was just like, no, dude, this is not good. And eventually it's like, all right, you're right. But it's different now. We have the depth, and like you said, competitive depth. So if a guy doesn't perform, he could get replaced. And I think that's probably why I'm not too worried about, an individual here or an individual there. I think there's that depth there. I think that's going to, that's something Doeren has done that we haven't seen ever.
Oh, we haven't had that in years.
Ever.
I mean,
yeah.
That's something you look at. Like, competition and depth is a huge part of college football.
Yeah.
Let's look at an Alabama. Say, offensive tackle. Do you think they have one 5-star guy come in? No. They have multiple guys coming in, and they are busting their ass to get that one starter. Well, multiple, whatever. They're busting their ass to get that starting spot.
Right. No, absolutely.
Whereas a TOB team, who TOB was a great strategic coach. He was a great using what he had coach, but it was a Boston College mentality. That's what I've come to realize.
Right.
He had to use what he could get, and he didn't take advantage of, hey, we've got the facilities, we've got the fan base, we could be something in football. And he brought that here, and it won 8 games a year, and that's cool. But I mean, I'm looking at the team we've got, I'm looking at the coaching staff we've got, and are double-digit wins out of the blue. No, we could have double-digit wins.
So the program is in a position that I've never seen. You know, between the depth, the support, the enthusiasm, the talent level, it's amazing what Doeren has done. I can't remember a time when we've had it that, you know, and he's only been here 3 years, and maybe the optimism is a little false, but the talent is there to do that, to support that, and I think that's you know, that's what everybody's going on. It's like, hey, we got the pieces, now can we put it together?
It's not false optimism, man. I'm sure it's not. If you look at this time let's go week 6 of last season. How many people wanted him fired?
Oh yeah, I mean everybody. If you consider, you know, he 0 in the conference the first year, and then, you know, last year he only won 3 conference games, and that people are look at the sheet and they're quick to point that out. But, you know, we were in that Louisville game. If Arius Moore's fumble recovery touchdown stands, that's a completely different game.
Yeah.
We were going head-to-head with Georgia Tech until we just collapsed. It was probably Jacoby's worst game of the year. Well, maybe Clemson was. But, you know, other than that, we were in the rest of the games. And so we were 3-5, but we very well could have been 5-3. And and that's with guys, you know, who hadn't played it all. Jacoby's first year as a starter and all these other things. So I get the optimism, but if somebody was cautiously optimistic, then, you know, I would understand that as well, because, you know, that's a State fan for you, I guess.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Like, every State fan has to be cautiously optimistic,
right?
Because you know, how many times have you had your heart broken?
Right.
No, you can't count. You know, I think if you look at the people who were calling for Doeren's job after week 5 of last season,
oh yeah,
they're uneducated. They don't get that. I loved T.O.B. and T.O.B. won games, but he won games on a system. He didn't win games on talent.
Right.
So when you take guys that are not talent players, but they're system players, and you put them in a talent-based system, they're going to falter. They're going to fail. And that's what happened Doeren's first season.
Yeah.
That's what happened the first half of last season until he kind of catered to that, and he had the guys that he had recruited started to grow up and realize they had to take control. And that's what turned the season around, man. Like,
I agree with you. I think it's you know, it's a good point. And that brings me to my next question. What's the record going to be?
Oh, now you put me on the spot, man.
I mean, I put mine out there. I had a nice, pretty little graphic. Like, I put it out there.
I want to go through the schedule.
All right.
Troy's a win.
Okay.
Well, let's just say the first 4 games, out of conference games, are a win.
Okay.
Louisville, win. At Virginia Tech, loss.
Yeah.
The good news is we're going to win in Winston-Salem for the first time since forever. You have Clemson as a loss, is that right?
I got a W for Clemson.
Do you?
I think we're going to beat Clemson.
See, I would chalk that as a loss.
And
we have...
All right, we'll go back. We'll talk about them. Go ahead.
All right. I was going to say Boston College, win. Florida State, loss. Syracuse and Carolina, wins. The thing I think that you're going to see from this State team this year is they are going to win the games they should and lose the games they should as well. And that gives them 2 losses. I see them losing to, 3 losses.
Mm-hmm. So you got 9-3?
Florida State, Clemson. Yeah, I got 9-3. Florida State, Clemson, and VT. That's just... Virginia Tech, if that game were at home, not on... A Friday night game is weird as hell. It really is.
Yeah.
That's an ESPN ratings thing. That's all it is. They have to have something on TV Friday night. Like, that's...
Well, you know what it is? It's the freaking NFL taking over Thursday nights, and that drives me crazy. Thursday nights for college football games, man. The NFL comes, and, you know, college football can't beat the ratings. But so they got to move them, and they got to move it to Friday night. You know, they got to take a night that the NFL's not there. And I hate it.
And if you're looking at it and saying, well, Thursday night, Friday night, that's not a big deal. Like, these kids grew up seeing Thursday night football in the ACC. Like, that's what it was. They haven't played Friday night since high school. Like, that's
right.
You might look at it and say, well, Friday night versus Thursday is not a big deal. Well, that might be true if you were an adult like you are now. But if you're a 19-year-old kid, like, that's Friday night, you're supposed to be out at the club, you know? That's funny. When we were at Meet the Pack Day, and I don't think I've even told you this, Evan, we were in line to get our poster signed, and there was a mother and like a probably 5-6-year-old kid, and he was just even scared to talk, but his mother kept goading him on, like, well, what game are you most excited to see? And he just kind of mumbled, and she's like, that's right, Clemson. And she was talking to the players, you know, and they're like, well, yeah, all right, well, we're excited for Clemson too. And she's like, well, tell him why. And he mumbled, and he was scared to talk, and she said, because it's Halloween. And this is going to seem bad, but the players were like, we were at the wide receiver table, and the one guy, I'm not going to name names, he looked over at the other one. He's like, wait, we're playing on Halloween? And the other one's like, wait, what? And then somebody on the table, he's like, yeah, we're playing on Halloween night. And then those two got so mad because they were playing on Halloween, because the one's like, wait, I was trying to go out on Halloween. I ain't trying to play football. So if we lose to Clemson, that's why. Because they're wanting to go out and party, not play football. But
yeah, that's the other reason. That's the opposite of me. I think it's a W. I think Carter Finley's. Assuming it's a Saturday night game, it's not been announced yet, but Saturday night, Clemson, Halloween, the place is going to be just obnoxious. It's going to be probably the best atmosphere we've seen in God knows how long. And I think the guys will be amped up to play. They'll go out afterwards. If it's a 7:00 game, they'll be out by midnight and having a good time. I think that there's going to be there's going to be so much hype around that game.
They'll be jacked up. Yeah. It was just so funny because it made me feel like, oh, well, I remember when I was that age and all I would have wanted to do was go to the club too. But
yeah, so I don't know. Looking at the schedule, most people have us losing to Louisville, and you and I have talked about this before, and I don't have the faith in Louisville. They lost 13 guys to the NFL. And I wasn't too impressed with them last year. They're going to get tested early. I think they have Auburn early, and they got another tough game early. But I don't know why people love them so much. We get them at home. I think we win that game. I have a good feeling about that game. I think that's a W for us.
No, they lost so much last season. Like that they were tough last year. That's fine. Whatever. Blah blah blah. No, they lost a ton. That's gonna factor in. If this were a TOB team, it might not have mattered that much, and it hurts me to say that, but we've got the talent now that we can, and talent and depth will win us the Louisville game. I honestly think it, man.
I think a lot of people count on Petrino, and I think he's a good offensive coach, but he's got to figure out a quarterback. He's got 3 guys fighting for a quarterback, and none of them have ever played a game before. So, there's a lot of question marks there.
He's a great OC, head coach, and moral fiber. I don't know. But I can't talk about moral fiber a whole lot, but yeah, that's I'm confident. It's the VT, the Florida State, and the Clemson game that's going to make our season. It really is.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think Virginia Tech. I don't think they're going to be good offensively. We've seen it before. And maybe I just have the burned memory of the 0-0 going into overtime versus Wake Forest game last year. I just don't think Virginia Tech, their defense is going to be good. Offensively, I don't think they're going to be that impressive. But we're playing there Friday night. That's the reason I'm counting as an L. I don't think Virginia Tech is going to be that much better than us that we can't win that game. But I just don't suspect it. You don't win many road games like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. Am I wrong? With the last time we played VT, were we up 17-0 at halftime?
Oh, absolutely, we were. I had a Virginia
Yeah.
Tech friend with me, and we were whipping them. Not only were we up, they couldn't even move the ball on us. And then the second half, I don't know what happened. It was like we sat back and tried to play prevent defense for the entire second half, and they just kept scoring on us. And I was like, oh my God, it's just like watching us melt down. We should have absolutely won that game, or could have absolutely won that game.
Yeah, my fiance was still in school that game, and we had gone out and tailgated, and she used her student ticket and went, and I went back to, it was actually her friend's apartment, and we were watching, and 17-0 at halftime. I'm just, I'm drinking more beer than I should have, and I thought it was a done deal, and
Yeah.
that is honestly personally the worst fall apart football game that I can remember.
Yeah, that was.
You've got
that was that year.
You've got Russell.
Yep.
You've got that great Wisconsin quarterback at playing for us, and just JK, y'all, LOL. But no, like we had a good quarterback. Our offense should have been fine, and exactly. I'll tell you exactly what we did. We pulled a Florida State against us the last time we beat them in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Because weren't we up 17? They were up 17-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or 16-0.
Yeah, it was 16.
Like
16-0. Beat them 17-16. Yeah.
You just come out after halftime. You think you got the win. You're just breezing through it, and that game. If we had won that game, that could have. Who knows, man? Who knows what that could have done? That TOB could still be coach.
Oh God, don't give me nightmares. Don't give me nightmares.
I know, and I'm a bad person, but
yeah, I think the only the game we had different there is Clemson. I think they're going to be good. They have the talent. You said it earlier. I think they're going to suffer from not having Chad Morris. I think that's something that is kind of underplayed right now. They have the talent.
People aren't seeing that.
Yeah, they lost some guys too. But they lost their offense. They lost their offensive coordinator, who is, by all accounts, the hottest offensive coordinator in the country.
Like, Dabo recruits. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, Chad Morris ran that offense. Everything about that offense he ran.
Yeah.
Dabo's a hell of a recruiter. I'll give him that. But it depends on the new OC. Like, what are they going to do? They got a killer quarterback, man. I mean, that kid scares the hell out of me. He really does.
Yeah, he's good. I can't argue that. But what's he going to do without Morris and a couple of those other guys, Martavius Bryant, a couple of those guys they lost. I mean, they lost some talent. So we'll see. I'm just, they're a lot of hype because they have so much talent, but they're not without their own questions.
What's that quarterback's name? Watson, right?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he has Morris. He's a Heisman candidate this year.
I can believe it. I don't doubt it.
Like, I'm telling you, that's how much of a drop off there's going to be in Clemson's offense. If he has Chad Morris there, he's a sophomore looking at the Heisman. Like, it's that much. You cannot exaggerate the amount that's going to be a drop off. It's going to be a problem. It really is. They're still Clemson. They're still good. They still have talent. They're still going to win games. But that Chad Morris loss is a huge deal. He ran that offense.
Yeah. So the other game we have different is, and this is the state fan in me, I have us going to Boston College and losing. I think we're better than Boston College, but I just think we always have one of those games. If we don't have one of those games, I'll be surprised and ecstatic, but I could see us going to Boston College losing, and then we both have us going to Florida State and losing because you don't win often there.
That shit ain't happening.
Right. So I just that Boston College, it's It's nothing to do with talent or coaches or any of that. It's all just gut feeling.
The BC running game is going to be solid.
They lost their entire offensive line.
It doesn't matter, man. That's a Dazio as a coach. Like they're going to run the ball.
They lost Tyler Murphy.
But well, whatever. They're still good. I'm saying it. The running game is him. Like I feel it's a coaching thing.
Yeah, I mean I get it. I don't love it, but I get it.
I mean, you should. You're picking us to lose, so you should be all aboard their running game.
I know, but like I said, it's not because I think they're better talent than us or anything like that. They're going to have a good.
You expect us to Clemson?
Say what?
You want us to Clemson a game? You expect us to Clemson a game?
No, I expect us to NC State a game. We're not going to go in that game favored. I don't think.
Don't think?
No, I think it'll probably be pushed.
We go into that game with one loss, we're going to be favored.
Maybe. It could be.
At BC, no, they're garbage.
Yeah,
they're going to be a bad team, but they'll give us a game. But I think we get it in the end.
Yep, I'd be great. I'm gladly be proven wrong there. Yeah,
I want to write it down.
Yeah, write it down. I got to write it down. Mine's out in public. I'll put yours out. I think the general consensus though is at 9-3. I feel like that's what most people feel like we're going to do. What do you think would be a bad season?
Well, we're starting off with 4. We lose one of those first 4, and I'm going to be lighting the torches myself. So, all right. So let's break it down. So we got, and jump in here on. There's no need to separate this. The first 4, you're 4-0, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we lose Louisville. Are you upset about that?
I'm gonna be a little bothered by that. I think we're better than them.
I do too, at home especially.
Right.
Like that's the kicker.
Right.
So we both expect a win there.
Yeah.
So that's 5 wins at VT. You can't be pissed off about losing there.
No.
Okay. So worst case scenario, we're 5-1 going into the bye, and then we're at Wake.
Right.
And Wake is such a kicker, y'all. Like, we can't win there, but this is the year we do it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We hadn't won there in 10 years. Do we break the streak and win there now? I feel like we should just because we're better than them. And last year they were garbage. I mean, they were terrible.
Oh, they were shit. Like, this is the year you have to look at it like you have to look at it from a recruiting standpoint and a team standpoint. We are a better team than them.
Right.
We have to win that game.
Especially coming out of the bye. Yeah.
Yeah, that coming out of a bye, that's a stigma that's faced us for years. We have to beat them. They're not better than us. They're Wake Forest.
Right. So
they're still clinging to Tim Duncan. They can't do it. So and Chris Paul. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So let's say we lose that game. Right.
If we lose Wake,
that's just we're talking about a bad season, right?
I want to be so pissed off if we lose to Wake.
Okay. So a loss there. That
puts me in a bad mood looking toward the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because if we lose to Wake and then we have to play Clemson next.
Yeah.
It's not like you play, Syracuse next. You go from losing to Wake to play in they're pretty much the conference favorite, right? Clemson?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if we lose to Wake, we're losing to Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's
No?
I think I think you're right.
Yeah, we lose. We take that little shuttle ride to Winston-Salem and we lose, and we come home to Raleigh. Clemson's going to beat our ass. But I'm telling you, we're going to beat Wake. We're going to lose to Clemson. I'm sorry, y'all.
No,
I really am. But
don't listen to them, people.
Well, we got disapproval here, but
so if we win 7 games, are you upset?
7?
Yeah, is 7
I'm
a bad?
Pissed off at 7. We have to win 8 for me to be happy.
Okay, so 8's the bottom line. It's of a good season or an acceptable season.
8 is acceptable, and that's not counting a bowl.
Yeah, I'm talking regular season.
Yeah, regular season we have to win 8. If we win 7, then we're bowl eligible, but that's starting to feed into the Tom O'Brien mentality. Well, as long as we go to some bowl, we're okay. But it's really not. We've recruited better in the past 2 years than Tom O'Brien did in however many years he was here. That's
right. No, I agree. All right, so I think everybody's in agreement here. I think eight wins is it's okay. 9 wins is probably most like what most fans are expecting, and that's really weird to say.
Is that the state fan expecting 9 wins or the realistic fan expecting 9 wins?
The state fan should be expecting 8 wins. The normal fan should be expecting 9 wins.
You think? Really? You think?
I think so. No, I don't know.
It's so hard for me to say that, but again, I guess that's the state fan in me. Like,
right.
I expect mediocrity is where I feel at home,
Right.
So,
absolutely. That's why it feels weird to say 9-3, because my optimism, it always seems to get the best of me, but eventually that's going to change, right? It's got to.
I'm telling you,
it's got to.
What if we win at VT and go 10-2?
That's the best. So my scenario here, that's the best I have us is at 10-2, and it's still losing that VT game. So I don't know where we're getting another win.
What do you have us beating Clemson at home?
Yeah, and then beating Boston College, I guess, would be the difference there.
Why don't you have faith in us to beat Florida State at home, Evan?
At Florida State? Yeah.
yeah.
Just sheer talent. I don't even think they're going to be as good as they have in the past. If that game's in Raleigh, I think we have a chance.
The thing that bothers me, if Florida State didn't have Jameis last season, we would have won that Florida State game, right?
Oh, I don't even think it was Jameis. If we could play any kind of defense in the secondary, we win that game. Freaking Buckley just got torched all game. He was playing nickel, and they were throwing Rashad Green at him, and he couldn't do anything. And I watched the second half in that game, and it was so much of it was on. And I hate to do that, but it was Buckley didn't play well, and that was why we lost that game.
Yeah,
but we had a big lead, and I guess everybody could have played better. I don't think that was Jameis. I think he was fine, but I don't think he was the difference maker.
Can you think of a game that hurt that much?
Oh God, not at all.
Like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a little PG-13 with this, but I was so hard when we were beating the shit out of them, and I thought it was a done deal, and then we just fell apart. Like, I can't tell. I'm sure the neighbors in my apartment below us hated me because I was leaping into the air, and high-fiving my friends. Like, I'm like, when you look at that first half, how do we lose that game? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It was.
I just depressed myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go cry now, but that.
Yeah, a couple of those were that we talked about before was the deep balls. I remember specifically Jacoby missed a couple deep balls that are game changers.
But you can talk shit about him missing the deep balls, but when he does the play, which ESPN has recognized, I mean, when he does that play, you can't hate him. Like, he's gonna make up for it, but if he's accurate with that deep ball, dear God, we're killer, dude.
Yeah, our defense was terrible that game. I think that's what it comes down to. The offensive game plan was spectacular, and defense did not come through.
Not at all. No.
The only one I compare that to, I'm not even going to do it. I was going to bring back an old Tom O'Brien.
No, I want to hear it. I'm trying to cry when I go to sleep tonight.
I was just going to think the game Tom O'Brien lost going to Maryland. All he has to do is beat a Maryland team who was like 3-100. They were terrible. And we go to the ACC championship, and we're playing Virginia Tech that we should have beat the first time. And we go up to Maryland and just lay an egg and lose and just shattered the ACC championship dreams. Yeah, that was so painful. The Coastal was terrible that year. Virginia Tech, we should have beat them the first time. Oh man, that one just sticks in my mind forever. That's the worst game.
I got a story about this. Another one of my stories. So I lived in South Carolina for 3 years, but I hadn't moved down there at the time, so I had gone down to visit a friend who lived in Myrtle Beach, and I had texted him beforehand, T9 style, because it was back in the day. I'm like, oh yeah, we're coming down. I want to watch the State Maryland game. He's like, oh, that's cool. And we had been at the hotel, and we decided to go to his house to watch the game. Well, on the way, I can't remember the kickoff time, but the moral of this story is South Carolina liquor stores close at 7 o'clock. And I was used to the 9 o'clock North Carolina rule. So I tried to go to the liquor store. It was closed. We lost the game. I had already looked at reservations in Orlando for the Orange Bowl for winning the ACC. Like, we had that shit locked down, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And it was done. We lost the game. I didn't have liquor to drink while I was watching it. It was a terrible night. that Maryland receiver that ran down our throat the whole night.
I don't even remember. I don't remember the names, but they were on like
that
their
one
17th
guy.
quarterback.
That one guy just killed us. Damn it! I wish I remembered his name, because he's beat me in fantasy since then, and then it was just like kicking me in the nuts after I was
Torrey
already
Smith
on the ground. But Torrey Smith, yes, yes, I lost a fantasy championship game because of him, and that was just insult to injury. It really was.
Didn't Maryland have a linebacker playing quarterback because they had lost all their quarterbacks to ACL?
Yeah, they were shit. They were shit, dude. Like, and they came out and just they ran all over our TOB defense, and that's when I started to doubt TOB. But it was just why did you have to bring that part up? I forgot about that.
You said you wanted to cry before you go to bed. There you go.
I did. I really do. So I've got too much fluid in me. I need tears. So
that's right.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I'm getting ready to cry. So
I don't know. I think we're really good. I think we're at 9-3. We're gonna win some games. The first 4 games are gonna be pretty boring. We'll see who gets the playing time. I don't know. False optimism. Could be a whole bunch of. It could be an interesting year. I think there's a potential.
The cool thing about being a State fan is every year you have to wonder whether it's false optimism or reality. Because every year we think we're going to be awesome, and then we suck ass. But the thing is, this year, like, the football program is starting to turn into a thing where it could be legit. Like, you have to wonder if your false optimism is real optimism. And that's an awesome feeling. Like, that is fantastic.
I hope we're right. I do. That's all. I'm going to leave it there. I hope we're right. Who you got winning the Coastal?
It's hard to go against that VT defense, man. Like, here's the thing. I grew up a Tennessee fan, so...
What the hell does that have to do with Virginia Tech?
It has to do with the Coastal and Tennessee and Duke. David Cutcliffe. Oh. You didn't let me get there.
Oh, God.
I grew up loving David Cutcliffe.
Oh, God. Enough
as an
of
OC
Duke. For... God, I hope they burn.
Peyton, Eli. I'm a Manning fanboy. What are you going to do? I'm debating on naming my son Peyton, but I debated on... I've got a Cutcliffe loyalty, and I know you don't like Cutcliffe.
I don't mind Cutcliffe. I hate all the Duke fans that think they're the next coming of Notre Dame or... I don't know, Alabama or whatever. God, I can't stand it. They're really anal about it and think they're fantastic. They're a schedule based team. Yeah.
Cutcliffe is a good coach. He runs a good scheme. He's got
nice guy.
He's good. Yeah, you can hate him all you want, but or doubt him, I guess is the proper term, but he runs a good team. Like, he's got it together,
I think he's fine. I don't think they're winning. I think it's going to be Georgia Tech. And the surprise,
GT, yeah.
The surprise is going to be Pitt.
Pitt?
Yep, I'm calling Pitt. Pitt's going to be the surprise in the Coastal. You watch.
No.
It's homeboys Narduzzi's first year. They have James Conner's just going to run for a gazillion yards. Yeah, I think Pitt's going to be sneaky in that division.
If I was debating between two, it would be Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech's offense is going to be horrible. They're not.
But see, I think it'll be enough with the defense they have.
I don't think so. They could.
No.
No. No, I think Virginia Tech's overrated. I think that whole program's going down. Sorry, Hokie Smash. I think they're going the wrong direction. My buddy Matt's Hokie Smash is gonna have a little aneurysm if he hears this. But
I mean, their defense is there. It's obviously there, but
I think
I've got to go.
They're going the wrong direction.
Honestly, if I look at it, why pick against Georgia Tech?
Yeah, there's no defense in that side that's going to stop them. I don't think.
I want to think Paul Johnson can't coach, but obviously he can. So I've said that every single year that they couldn't do it, and they have. So,
all right. You think Paul Johnson could have run the triple option in Raleigh?
I think he can run it anywhere. That's not saying I want him to, but he could. Yeah, it's such terrible football. I hate watching it. I really do. But
yeah, it wins.
There.
Yeah, it's frustrating. ACC championship. Who you got?
Every year I've picked against Georgia Tech, and they've been there. So Georgia Tech and sorry State fans, but Clemson.
Oh, boo.
What do you got?
Oh, Georgia Tech, Clemson, but just wanted to
what the hell, man?
Clemson's one loss is going to be us.
Is it?
Yeah.
You think? They're a one-loss team and it's NC State?
No, they're going to lose more than that, but they're not going to lose many more in the division. I think that's the thing. I don't know if they got Florida State at home or not.
That's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, should be interesting.
We should have a viewing party for that somewhere.
The ACC championship?
Y'all would come out, right? Yeah, y'all would come out. We're not going to be there, so it's not like we're going to be at the game.
Ooh.
But I'm sorry. I'm being honest.
Oh, State fans around the world are cringing.
Now, if
we beat Clemson,
hypothetical.
No. If we beat Clemson, are we in the ACC championship?
That's a tough call, man.
10-2 or 6-2 in the conference.
So we're assuming we lost to Florida State?
Yeah, it'd be Virginia Tech and Florida State, the two losses we have.
2 losses? No, I don't think we make it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't have a whole lot of confidence.
I would see Florida
State
with 1.
Yeah.
No?
I haven't looked at their schedule, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in them. Yeah, I just don't think I think Everett Golson's okay. I don't think he's great. And, they have talent if they don't get arrested. I don't even know who they got. Texas State, South Florida, at Boston College, at Wake, Miami, Louisville, at Georgia Tech, they're going to lose that. At Clemson, they're going to lose that. Yeah, so that would be 6-2. They'd have the tiebreaker over us because we got them at home, and if they beat us there. Yeah, bummer.
Are you chalking up the Florida State-Miami game as a Florida State win?
Yeah.
But I thought Brad Kaya was the truth.
Oh, God. If I hear more shit about Brad Kaya.
I'm telling y'all, if y'all hadn't looked at stuff, Brad Kaya is apparently the next just Doug Flutie. Like, he's the guy that shouldn't be, but is going to do it. Like, he's the guy. He's going to be on the Wheaties box that your kids are eating. Like, that's...
So, for those that don't know, Dustin is referencing an ESPN article... I don't know, it was about a month ago, and they were talking about the best quarterbacks in the ACC, and they don't...
Multiple articles.
And they don't mention Jacoby once. He doesn't even mention... You have freaking Grayson Lambert. I think he transferred after this point. The Virginia quarterbacks, whoever they were mentioned over Jacoby and Marquise and Justin Thomas and Brad Kaya. And nobody mentions Jacoby. I was like, are you kidding
me? Who the
me?
hell is Brad Kaya was my response. Like, that's legit it. Like, everybody is just worshiping Brad Kaya. He did shit last year, y'all. Like,
yeah. They're not good. They're not going to be good.
I know we're close to ending it, but what about the respect that Jacoby gets? It's garbage.
What respect?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he is just looked over. He's nothing. He's, oh, well, they're cute. They're a little team that's making a comeback. No, screw that shit. I'm telling you, if you named the 3 top QBs in the conference, who would it be, Evan?
Top QBs in the conference, I think not in order. I think you gotta have to go Jacoby, Marquise, and Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
I'm
100% in agreement.
I would put Justin
agree
Thomas.
with you completely.
I could respect a Justin Thomas in there, but he doesn't throw the ball, so he's a running back. So I would say Watson, Marquise, and Jacoby. I think those, and it's debatable, but it's not debatable. He's not in the top 5, which is he doesn't get any mentions, which is so weird. I don't know. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I could get it if he's not your top 2 or 3, but how is he not on the list?
I don't know.
Like, there's no way he's not on the list.
He wasn't even mentioned. That just blew my mind.
Exactly. Like, because I would look at it like you, and I would actually go Kaya over Marquise because I really don't think he's shit. I want to be honest. Like, he's a system quarterback. He's an Oregon quarterback. He runs the system and that's it. But if he's got pressure, which obviously he did last year, like I would go Jacoby, Kaya, and Watson would be my top 3. But if you're not top 2, I'm not interested in you, and I would put Watson above Kaya. So
it's baffling. He doesn't get the love, but whatever. He'll have another good year. And does he make the NFL? I don't think we'll know until this year.
I would say halfway through this season, and we'll know.
Yeah, I think at this point he'd be a serviceable backup. He's probably better than a lot of backups. As an NFL starter, I don't know. I'm not sure.
If I had to go on just a guess now, I would say he gets paid to play. Whether or not he plays is something else, but right. I think he can make a bench in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think by week 6 or 7 of the season, you'll start hearing about that. Well, this kid from NC State. I think that's something that there's potential for State to have Russell, Phillip, Jacoby if Mike Glennon gets traded and Lovey lets him off the damn,
Screw Lovey. God, I can't.
Oh, man.
He hosed Glennon.
Oh, he did. He hated him when he got there, man.
Yeah.
Like, Glennon did not have a chance. If you look at the team they had, Glennon came in and played well. Like, he played great.
Yeah.
And he just didn't... Lovey hated him when he got there. That was all it is.
You think the Jets would want Mike Glennon right now? Absolutely.
Oh, yes. I'm telling you, like, my wet dream is to see Glennon go to Arizona.
Oh, yeah. That would be
great.
He
He would tear it up there, man.
Yeah.
Like, the talent, the arm, the receiver. Like, if you make Glennon the Cardinal, it's done. And he's just, when you go to Tampa Bay, that's...
He'll get a shot.
They're shit. Yeah, he will. He will. And it sucks for him that he's having to wait for it, but it'll come.
That would be amazing if we can get Glennon and Jacoby both in the league. That would be awesome.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. 4 out of 30. What is it, 32, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Suck that, USC. Like, there's no way. So,
yeah.
Anyway, what else you got, Evan?
That's it. I think it's going to be a fun year. I'm looking forward to football season. It cannot get here fast enough, to be honest.
Yeah. One more thing I was thinking about. The video that came out a couple days ago of the walk-on that got a scholarship. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Nick Lacey.
Yeah. How awesome was that?
I love that they do that, and they might be. I don't think they're not doing it for, publicity or anything like that. They're genuinely doing it. It just happens to be made a video, but just the fact that the way they do it and they're rewarded. 3 walk-ons this year got scholarships so far. Locklear, Grayson, and now Lacey. The Lacey video was much bigger, got one a little bit more viral, but I think it's awesome that they do it. I think it's great. It looks good for the program. When he's doing things like that, our guys aren't getting arrested, and then you compare it to other programs in the area. It's like they're doing things the right way, and that's why I think so many State fans are really buying into Doeren's system and Doeren building the program. I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I think it's awesome.
Just starts out as this team speech, and then if y'all didn't see it, we'll tweet out a link to it. It was fantastic. he's giving a speech on team players, that kind of thing, yada yada, and then he goes into it and talks about guys doing it for free, and then he's like, "But this guy isn't," and the team swarms him, and it's fantastic. It was really great. It was
awesome. It's good to see.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I think it's just representative of the program as a whole. And
yeah, it's going for. It's not a team anymore. That's we haven't seen that in a couple years where it's not just it's not a team. It's a program. It's something that can attract kids from not just Greensboro, North Carolina. This kid wants to go here. It's they're going places. They really are. So
yeah. One other thing, and I have to look it up, but people can still call us in and ask us questions. I forgot what our phone number was. Hang on.
Yeah, it's on the Twitter account.
919-766-0096. I forgot we did have a couple of calls this off season. Maybe we can bring those in on the next one, but feel free to call us, ask us a question, leave us a message, tell us we suck, tell us we're great.
Yes.
919-766.
You show us that on the speed dial, and I will give you a gift.
Yep, 0096. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's a good one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What was the number? I cut you off.
Oh,
say it again.
919-766-0096.
That's it.
It's like a car commercial. All right, guys.
He's a DJ.
For the Red and White Podcast, Evan and Dustin, we're out. We'll see you next time. Thanks.